Cheers, guys. How are you? And while I have just the two of you, thank you. I don't know if you know, but my podcasts have been out, and both of you gave me some really valuable
You gotta
information when I
shoot
was
me a
setting
link.
all
I
this
haven't
shit
I
up
haven't seen it.
last year. I'll email
Yeah,
it to you.
send the link to it. That's great.
I'll email both of you. It's
Hold
getting
on.
kind of interesting.
How you doing, Dearson?
I'm well. How are you?
Actually, you know what's weird? So I've had COVID twice and I've had the shot. And today, all of a sudden, like I started, shivering and getting a temperature and all this like flu slash COVID symptoms just out of the blue, like, I don't know, an hour and a half ago. Totally
Really?
crazy. I'm feeling okay now, but I'm sitting outside in, 90 degrees in Florida.
Yeah,
But it's totally weird.
that's bizarre.
It is.
Yes, sir. So
Well,
Meanwhile, I've been running around like through the entire pandemic. I've been on flights going everywhere. I've been crowds of 70,000 people, 80,000 people.
and nothing. Yeah.
nothing.
I mean,
I got
I
my
got to
booster
take basic
today.
precaution, but not.
Yeah.
You'd think, but
I got my
Yeah.
booster today. I had to go to Woodstock to get it, but nonetheless.
Cool. I remember the old days when you went to Woodstock to do drugs. Totally
Yeah,
different.
and everybody
totally
going to
different.
Woodstock for experimental drugs. That's great.
There you go.
No.
Yeah. Don't
Classic.
take the brown COVID shot.
Touche, gentlemen, touche.
What else?
Wow, who's the blob? Oh, it's Bob. Blob Harmon.
me.
You were just
Hold
a
on.
blob on the screen here a minute ago.
Minute. Everyone's
And
coming in.
I still am.
Now.
Hold on.
Eric, are you at the golf course
Yeah, again.
or on a ranch?
I'm always
This
at the golf. I'm always on the golf course.
I think he's in his office posing, pretending.
I'm supposed to be on the golf course right now, but I'm not. I'm here in the office.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna try something else.
What's going on, everybody? Anything exciting?
Fall fell.
Many
Friggin'
exciting
cold.
things.
Many exciting
Friggin' cold
things?
up here.
It's cold up there. It's hot down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we finally
coming
started
back?
hitting fall weather in Vegas. It dropped down to a chilling 86 degrees today.
Like Florida
Damn.
in the fall, right?
Yeah, what is it here right now? It's 84.
77 here. It's nice here.
I think it's barely 50.
That's why we
here.
pay such high taxes for the 10 degrees lower temperature.
Is that what it is?
I thought that was like some kind of like nuclear thing that was going on coming up from the earthquakes and stuff, and it was keeping your weather down.
No, it's El Nino.
Ah, there you go.
57
That's-
here,
Oof.
but it'll be in the 30s tonight. So
Well,
I
there
think
you
El-
go.
Causes hurricanes on the Atlantic coast. And now what's the reverse of El Nino? There's
El
another
Nina, isn't it?
La
El
Nina.
Nina, La Nina, right?
La Nina. Yeah.
whatever that other period is when we get hurricanes. We've had hardly any this year, thanks to you guys taking the brunt of it. But you might be seeing the future for us. I don't know.
There was another one I got an alert on today. Victor, who's off the coast of Africa. That's a lot of hurricanes getting all the way to V.
I mean, the general path these days is scoot around Florida and go up and hammer, Louisiana.
New
Don't
Orleans.
say that too
New
loudly.
Orleans, yeah.
Don't jinx us, Marcel. You say that
Yeah.
too loudly, they're gonna go bam, hit you right on.
All right.
I don't think that's like a new thing. I think if you look at, the geography of the country, you've got two catcher's mitts carved out of the land.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Florida gets
But
spared.
we used to get our share. Like they used to come through Florida and then kind of go up and hit Louisiana or something, or cut back across Florida and go get Georgia or whatever, and they'd be worn out by then. But
And
for
you
the
weren't
last
even
couple
there.
of years, they're all going to Louisiana and Mississippi and
A lot of Gulf hurricanes, but boy, in the
Yeah.
60s, they snockered South Florida like boom, 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 one after another. Cosmo, were you down in Florida then?
When?
60s, early 70s, when they just kept getting snockered with storms.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
I actually lived down in Miami, and I lived near the beach, and I forget which, probably 67 or 68. Hurricane came through. We lived on the second floor, and the water came up to
Damn.
the second floor.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
How
Oh,
about
it's
what was
weird.
it? Was it 2005 when we got like 3 or 4 of them in one
That
year?
was 2004.
I think 3 of them hit Palm Beach County.
Yeah, it was Hurricane Charlie, Hurricane Francis, Hurricane Jean, and another one. There was a fourth one.
you've got
My
it.
daughter was born during Gene.
Wow.
Cool.
What's her name?
McKenna.
Gene.
Hey,
Yeah.
nice pics from the show the other day, Cosmo. Those are really nice to see
Which
from the
one?
Stones show.
Oh yeah, I just, you know me, I kind of wear my emotions on my sleeve, so.
No,
Yeah, it's meant a lot to me. It was a great. I mean, it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. They're
Really?
unbelievable. Yeah.
They still had those like 4 big iPhone things, right? That they had in the stadium shows.
Yeah, the video
before all of this.
walls. I mean, it's I don't know. It's a very simple production. The only thing I didn't like is the video wall behind the band. It should have stopped at the screen at the roof line and then come down.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was great. The thing I don't like about big screens, especially when you're close, is you look at the screen. Your eyes go to the screen when I got Mick Jagger right here, and I'm looking up at the fucking screen.
Yeah, that was when I had Brickman on my podcast. He made a really good comment about that. He said he went and saw the Stones, and he said the problem I had with the video screens is they made Mick Jagger look small.
Yeah, really.
It's a really great point.
I mean, the thing is I like the side screens for the people in the back, but when you're right in the front, I mean, I went to see when they had the big round screen in the middle, and I was in the pit. I was in the barricade, and I watched some guy front row seat looking at. I mean, Mick Jagger was literally 5 feet away from him. He was looking at the screen. I'm like, dude,
oh God,
right in front of you. You know, he's
I mean,
sweating on you, and you're looking at his picture.
It's the same at sporting events. You know, when people go to a Dolphins game and watch it on the, you know.
Have you been to the stadium at AT&T in Dallas?
No.
Anybody
It's
here?
very distracting.
Yeah, I've been there.
That's terrible because the screen is huge. It's as long as the field. So
Yeah.
you look at the screen.
Same with SoFi. Same with SoFi here.
I got to take a call. I'll be back. I'm
worries.
working, you know.
It's all right. Me too.
Aw.
Yeah. Fedo, you're back.
Hey,
How are you?
am I muted?
No.
No, I'm
we-
not. Yay. I'm good. How's everybody else?
And flippin-tastic.
Okay.
Busy.
Especially
good.
Dearson. Dearson seems to just have an incredible life. I don't know what's going on with him.
He lives in Las Vegas. Anybody like me who lives in Las Vegas
I don't
has
know.
a terrific life.
I've
I
met
have
some
not
crackheads
hug
in
on my
Vegas
lap.
that would argue.
How could life not be good? This is
Yeah.
You're not in the water
hug. I
today.
got a baby Yoda back there. We got everything I need.
Yeah, you're not in the pool today though, so you must be working
Yeah.
or something.
Hey,
Yeah.
did you say you moved to Southern Highlands?
Yeah,
That's nice out there.
yeah, it's very cool. It's
Mhm.
temporary, but it's cool.
Are you going to be in town next week, Patrick?
I gotta look at the calendar, but yeah, I think I am.
Or come in Monday through Friday? We'll have to
Oh,
hang
cool.
out
Well, let's grab lunch or something
for sure.
one of those days.
Show you the new office.
Cool.
We're filming something for Ford, so it'll be kind of cool. It's a new
Right.
project that you might like.
What is it?
Can't tell you. It's in our studio.
You
He'll
can't
know.
do that.
Why not?
Because it's just not
Bad tease.
cool.
It's
It's
cool
not
though.
cool.
If I tell you, I got to kill you.
I would have
Is
to.
it? It's a new vehicle? A secret new vehicle?
It's still a Ford.
It's probably
Maybe.
the freaking
Now.
F-150
No.
electric thing.
No, it's not. It's coming out. It's actually a preview of stuff for SEMA that we're putting into video file for them.
Oh, cool. So SEMA's
Awesome.
definitely happening.
Yeah, there is a new car, but it's very, very prototype.
When is SEMA this year?
So we usually load in and focus on the 31st. So it's got to be the beginning of September. or November. I can look. I don't even know. I go for a week, then I come home for a couple days, and I go back for another week, and then I come back for 10 days, and then I go back for SEMA. So I'll be in Vegas pretty much all month.
Is LA Auto Show still happening?
Yes.
Oh, LA, yeah.
Yeah. And actually a lot of off-site gigs from a lot of the manufacturers this year.
Yeah.
To do their little special presentation for their dealers and, you know, different marketing things. So it could be good for everybody here in LA.
Yeah.
We can't supply it all. There's no way.
Yeah.
Work is good. There seems to be lots of people working. Matt's posted he's got some gigs, and I was talking with Richard Cadena, who's out on film shoots or some such.
Yeah,
he told me
it's still a ton of film shoots and webcast and broadcast. A lot of the live stuff just dropped off again.
Yeah.
Bunch of cancellations for October, November, December.
Yeah, I saw that a lot of like October stuff seems to be pushing to January. So we're gonna have another bubble. I mean, I'm not complaining because it does wonders for the used equipment business every time they do this
Certainly.
stuff. But you know, I don't know. I worry for our industry every day.
Yeah, it's tricky. You know, it's I don't know. Provided they don't pull another, you know, fear porn variant to scare the hell out of every producer coming up, we should have a fantastic 2022. Because right out of the gate in January,
Deja vu.
a lot of stuff. But yeah, it's this Delta variant freak out. Every producer just yanked everything back, going, we're not going to put the funding in to start this up because we just don't know what crazy nonsense the government's going to pull at the last minute and cancel our event. You're out all your money. I mean, I feel for the producers. It's tough.
Yeah. So are people actually able to charge non-refundable deposits now? Are companies no?
Do you want to keep your client?
Yeah. No, it becomes that deposit becomes credit towards another one right now.
Oh boy.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I've heard bus companies are doing that.
Yeah.
If people are pull the plug on a tour of that, they're just not giving them their deposits back.
Yeah,
They're
and
out
it
the
becomes
money.
it becomes a deposit for or a credit for another gig is what seems to be the norm right now.
Yeah.
That's a bit challenging though, because I mean, you know, I know a lot of the people I'm talking to are saying, yeah, I've already spent, you know, 90% of the money that we got from the deposit on all the stuff that I had to prepay for. And, you know, now you're supposed to give the deposit back, right? I don't know.
Well,
It seems
yeah, I mean,
challenging.
it also comes down to how your contract's written and what your agreements are. You know, I mean, we have a standing, you know, if we're within 30 days of the event, you know, it's 100% non-refundable, and we have a very open conversation with the client about that ahead of time, so that they understand that, you know, people are securing, and this is primarily the fact that we're fighting to keep food on the table of the crew that are hired,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So these guys are turning down other work, and you can say, oh well, everything's happening at the same time all you want. It's still a problem.
Would you want to take some stuff out? Should we take the stuff out of the fridge?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
We're
end of the day,
getting
I
the wine
think,
going in a caravan.
Steve, I muted you. Sorry. End of the day, I think Feto's got it right. You know, it just depends on your relationship with your client. If you want to keep the client, you know, no matter what the contract says, unless it's Google or Facebook or something, you know, chances are you want to hang on to
is
your
it a
client.
postponement or is it a hard cancellation? You know, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
We've had a number of the live events cancel, but they've also rolled into either virtual or they were going to be a hybrid anyway. So they're still doing the you know, the virtual part of it, but they just canceled the live portion.
Right.
So it's, you know, it's kind of weird. You just,
Yeah.
like I said, you got to work with your people, you know?
Yeah, it really is. You have to gauge, you know, who it is. It also depends on, you know, is it a longstanding client? Is it someone that you can trust to discuss it and know that they've got your back as well? You know, we we ran into an issue, at the beginning of the pandemic. We had a cancellation it was a major cancellation 2 weeks out from the load in. And this was like 4 or 5 weeks of work for a significant amount of crew. And it was basically a new client that had been troublesome in the past with the few dealings that we had. And, we just fought like hell to get a 50% cancellation for the crew members, because we knew damn well that for a lot of these guys, it was the last check they were going to see for many, many months. And sure enough, they want to do the event again, but right out of the gate in the planning of the re-event, they're already playing games with everybody, and to the point where the vendors are starting to leave. And it's like, okay, well, with that kind of client, you have to trust your intuition and know that you're playing it properly, because had we not fought for it, there would have been nothing, and they just wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
So,
Bob, are you still shut down?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got extended into October, 3rd week of October now. And it's just unbelievable.
And there's no handouts.
No, there's nothing. There's no more. PPP is gone. Unemployment will run out within a month for the entire year, because it's only 26 weeks. So people who've had no work are going to think about relocating, changing their jobs, or
Yeah.
some are going to live out of their cars.
Wow.
And that's where we stand.
very important for everybody. If you're receiving emails from the Census Bureau.
Yeah, I saw that today, Patrick. But the thing is, you didn't include the link. I saw it on Facebook or something.
It's not a link that you just give out. You receive that from the Census Bureau with a specific code for your corporate entity, not just a public thing. So if you have an actual corporate entity, you should be receiving these from the Census Bureau. And I encourage everybody to fill them out and to be honest with them in very clear, polite language as to exactly what's happened to this industry, because they're clearly hunting for information. And I don't think they really get the live events industry.
Yeah, I mean, every little bit helps, obviously, but it's just like the Strickland thing again today. I mean, he's right, but I don't know. Like, does sending Schumer an email actually do anything? I don't know.
What I will say
it does, but
one of the things Strickland always says is, you haven't lost until you've given up.
Yes. And strength in numbers and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And, what does it take for you to write an email or 2 emails to Congress people out of your week? Just take it. The more they get the influx, and quite frankly, it's about the mass of it when it hits their servers, because they're not looking at any of that, but it's aides that are looking at that. When they start looking at it and going, all right, well, we just got this massive influx this week of this music act thing by 10,000 people. This must be something you should pay attention to. So that goes into the inbox of things they got to check off. So you can't give up, and you got to be diligent about it, and you just got to keep making noise and keep reminding the world that this is an industry that is not out of the woods, and everybody fucking loves, but they don't realize what it takes.
Yeah, everybody wants to see a good concert, but
they don't get it.
Yeah. No, it's challenging. It's frustrating. I can tell you as a business owner, like, typically we just go on, we just go, okay, forget about all that stuff. Not that we've given up, but we've just chosen to focus on other things. And yet, I talked to someone like Eric Todd, and Eric Todd is, knee deep. He knows every word of every email, and he's fighting every different angle of it and stuff. And he'll probably, if he hasn't already, he'll probably be successful. I don't look at those spreadsheets that show who got money, because it just pisses me off when I see them. So, well, I mean, I think the older you get, you start looking away from the stuff that just annoys you,
Yeah, it's certainly.
Finally learned that.
No, it means it has, as a business owner, you're always dealing with risk tolerance and your amount of effort you want to put into something for your return. And the thing I constantly harken back to is the fact that throughout the pandemic, so many of us worked harder than we've ever worked for such little return.
Yeah.
And now as things start coming back, and I've been just as guilty of it at times, you go, all right, things are happening. I can take a step back and not really worry about that stuff as much because here we go. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, wait, October, November, December just dropped off the fucking map because people were
Well,
scared
I
of this
I
stuff.
think that's a very good point, Patrick, but I think it's also that you look at the things that need your attention, that give positive results. Like at some point you do, you get fatigue over, oh, send Schumer another email. What'd the last 500 emails I sent Schumer do? So, I'm not saying that's me, but I'm saying a lot of people do come to that point where it's just the government's not going to help, I better go figure something out. But I mean, then you've got companies like Bob, what the hell is Bob supposed to do? I mean, he can focus all he wants, but unless he goes into the coffee business or creates hotel beds in his shop and brings in tourists or something, I mean, what's he going to do? He can't have a show.
And that's why I do it.
Yeah.
And that's why I encourage everybody not to give up. It doesn't matter where the hell you are. We as a whole have to stick together, and we have to.
I feel like we need really soft music right now with like sort of a march behind it,
The theme of Gladiator. But you have to keep fighting. You have to rise up, and there is a lot of fatigue that comes with it, and it's hard. It's just fucking hard. This whole pandemic's been hard on a lot of people, and I think this call, as I look at how many people are on this, is an excellent barometer of it. Look who's still standing and still fighting, regardless of where their ability to do business is right now. And look back at call number 5. What are we on? 62 here?
60 something, yeah.
60, yeah, that's like 62 or 62 calls to flatten the fucking curve. Day 91. we're still fighting. And back then, there were, it was like the peak, it was like 70, 80, 90 people on this call.
Yeah.
And
a lot.
It
tends to be a barometer for
I hope they're
people
working, and that's why they can't come on.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
And I get that we divulge into some nonsense here and there, and it lose interest in some people, but every single call that I've been on has given a bit of information that's actionable and worthwhile.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of sticking together. And
so honestly, it's good to just have people to bounce ideas and to talk to and to listen to and all of those things.
And to call each other out on our own bullshit, right? Like, so when you say, what did my other emails do when I emailed all the politicians? Well, the first round got us around a PPP, right? That helped push that. And the next round got a second round of that going. It beat the shit out of them. The third round got SVOG going. Well, maybe that didn't get all of us money, but it got some other people money that may not have had the chance or the wherewithal to fight for themselves, and it helped. Now the next push, because there are people like Bob that need that money way more than a lot of the other businesses that have at least had a chance to try and do business.
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of business. David Barber, I know you're probably not backed up on ads where you don't have room to plug them in, I mean, marketing budgets are gone the way of the iPhone 2. I mean, so I feel for everybody who's in that position. Like, I feel very fortunate because there is a used gear market that we're feeding into. And I feel good for, even for Eric and Ben's not here, but Ben and all the moving light manufacturers, they're at least getting some orders. It's not where it was, but it's better than it was last year. But I mean, then there's the Bobs, it's like, Jesus Christ, something has to give.
Let's talk about a couple things that I do see coming up. And one of them is that they're about to release the floodgates, at least to Japan. Some of the international flights are about to start coming back into the US. That's interesting work. And that's going to.
Does anyone find it bizarre though that Japan and Europe, but not Canada?
Yes,
Canada's still
I find
blocked.
it very, very bizarre.
It's completely
like,
insane. Like
it
obviously
makes
it's a
no sense.
grudge.
It's like there's some vendetta against the Canadians because
That's what I'm saying.
the
And they've
border
been so
policies are
careful.
fucked up. Yeah.
But Canada's been so ridiculously careful. I mean, they're like Hawaii, where they get 1 or 2 cases and they shut everything down, close it all, you know. And to me, it's
they do, but
disgusting that we're
oddly,
allowing Europe and some of the Asian countries and all of this other stuff, but not Canada. Weird.
Well, that's the odd thing. It's the US that's stopping the Canadians from coming in here. The other way around, they've opened it up at least
Yeah.
within whatever the parameters of travel are. It makes
Weird.
absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Weird.
But there's a whole lot in the world today that makes no sense to me. So I just kind of go, okay, go with the flow.
That's for sure. Yeah. Every morning I wake up and go, what? What just happened?
What the?
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. No, you're right, Bob. I mean, it's at least they're opening, you know, it's like LDI now, you know, one of the big arguments was that it's not going to be an international show. Now, at least, you know, barring some unseen, you know, problem, it's going to be an international show. I've talked to some Europeans who are coming.
Oh, good.
But
Is Steve Warren still on?
he said he'd see us in the house. Yeah.
Well,
I booked my flight, by the way. Marcia, did you? Because
I
was
too,
lying to
this
you
past
last week. I was lying to you last week because I didn't want you to take the last JetBlue flight. So I was telling you it's Southwest that has the direct flight out of Fort Lauderdale, but it's JetBlue.
No, there's only one direct, and it's the JetBlue, and it's
Chivalry
only
is completely dead at this point, folks.
Marcel,
I was duping her.
Yeah, I totally didn't fall for it. How long have we been friends?
Yeah, it seemed like you fell for it.
I too. No. I also did book my flight, and I actually am coming into Vegas a couple of days earlier because it was cheaper to get a cheaper flight and a hotel room for 2 days than it was to pay the $390 to fly one way from Fort Lauderdale to Vegas on Thursday. It was ridiculous.
by the way, David Barber.
Yes.
You want to be roomies? Because I got a room at the Trump. I'm good. No. I got 2 beds.
Yeah, thanks. I'd rather sleep in the street.
Hey, give it time. You might be.
I have a lovely room at the Westgate, as we always do.
There are no lovely rooms at the Westgate. I've stayed in every room in that hotel.
If you squint.
And don't breathe.
And you drink a lot.
Yeah,
well, everybody be wearing masks, so that helps.
Yes.
You know, it used to be okay when it was a Hilton because I had Hilton Diamond. And if you checked in as Diamond, you could get like some crazy Elvis suite or something. But now it's just the Westgate and, you know, probably the crazy Elvis suites are storage or something.
For years, I begged Jackie not to go there. For years, I've said, let's not stay there. But it's the just inertia that we can roll out of bed and into the trade show.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I used to stay at the Renaissance too, for the same reason. And plus the Renaissance was nicer than the Westgate. It's now not been updated in a long time, but, you know, and plus the Renaissance didn't have a casino. The only problem was you had to sneak to your room at night because there would be like Nick Fried and Gary Maas and stuff sitting at the bar going, hey dude, come have one drink, you know, and 14 hours later, you're still sitting there.
We stayed at the Renaissance one year.
It's kind of like staying at the Hard Rock, same problem.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Speaking of which, Chris Asen, how far did you and Dave Schulman get with securing the Tommy Rockers for your new center bar location?
Dave didn't have anything to do with that.
He sure sounded like it.
No, we got our office manager's band is going to play that weekend. Tommy has been in Alaska for the last 2 weeks and hasn't been able to get home. So we're just waiting on the confirmation. The guy that owns it, Tommy.
Oh, okay, owns the bar, right?
So and the other thing he's worried about is he cannot get employees. And he said, if you bring in over 200 people, then
we'll bring our own bartenders, not a problem.
Yeah,
We'll serve ourselves. I promise we'll record them all.
And
you know, it's not a big deal.
So he's really worried about that. So I need to go talk to him when he gets back next week while I'm in town.
I like the idea of buffet liquor. I haven't seen that yet. You know?
Yeah, everybody pays $30 and drink whatever you want.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. He's worried about big crowds right now. When he has big bands there, he doesn't have the staff, the security, everything to control the big bands. He has 2 stages, and the big stage he's trying to
I'm
not
pretty
book.
sure we could reach out to the industry. And I mean, I don't know if there's an insurance problem or something, but we could reach out to the industry and find 4 bartenders or 8 bartenders or something.
I'm sure. I'm
you
sure.
know?
I'll have more of a talk with him next week when he's
Yeah.
in town. I'm in town.
Yeah.
Looks good.
I'm
so
sure we
far.
can find someone
Yeah, I'm sure we can work it out.
and just bribe them on the side so that, your tab is, instead of 500, it's like 50 or whatever. Drop us here.
Yeah, we'll see. He already said he'd give us happy hour prices, if we do like a dog tag or something.
Hey, you want to know something, Chris?
Cool.
I'm announcing it here. This is insane. I just discovered it the other day. The LDI, when I took a job from Martin, was 30 years ago this year at LDI, 30 years ago, 1991.
We're old.
Isn't that crazy? 30 freaking years.
Yeah, we're old.
That blew me away when I looked at it. I'm like, wait a sec, because I don't know, somebody sent me something or whatever. I think maybe Gerard sent me something and said, this was in 1991. And I'm like, oh my God.
Was it a picture of you guys? Was it a picture of you guys in black and white?
Yeah, I think it was me, him, and Yeheskiel.
Yeah.
I got it. I can send it to you.
Yeah, I have that picture. Yeah, I think I gave it to him.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I mean, 30 freaking years.
Was that
I did my
Dallas?
first lighting design
Reno.
40 years ago this year.
Damn, you're old.
I am. I qualify.
Yeah, it was the first Reno show.
They did 2 Reno shows because they did 93 as a point.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was the year
91.
it snowed.
Yes.
David remembers it.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it
With
was the year
donuts
it
in the
snowed.
parking lot.
And didn't American DJ and other California companies and stuff have trouble getting your product that year?
Yeah,
Wasn't that the
well,
year when?
Yeah, all the roads were closed, so our truck driving up there couldn't get up there.
Right.
There wasn't enough power in the building.
Yeah, there was
They had to bring in
generators everywhere in the parking lot. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So they had to go borrow like 4 spinny lights and 2 fog machines from a local strip club in Reno, and that was the AM DJ booth.
Oh, there was feeder cable through the entire catwalk. It was unreal the amount of feeder cable in there.
And I remember there was massive wind too. The planes were coming in over that mountain there in Reno and going like this. It felt like you were going to crash.
Everybody had
was
horror
saying the same
stories.
thing.
I did an emergency landing that year in Sacramento.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we ran out of fuel and
Nice.
came
That could be
in
problematic.
sideways into
Really?
Sacramento, and they sat us on the tarmac for 4 hours. Liquor carts ran out of fuel. And then finally landing in Reno, they landed in like a foot of snow because they just had to put the plane down. And I remember coming with a sliding halt right at the end of the
Wow. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I remember one year, Marcia, you might remember this, but nothing to do with LDI, but probably, I don't know, 15 years, maybe even 20 years ago, there was a plane going from like here to San Juan or from San Juan to St. Thomas or something. It was a smaller propeller plane. Maybe it was going to the Bahamas, but the guy was videoing with his phone out the window, and the plane like went into a nosedive and then started like spinning and doing flips, like, just completely end over end falling out of the sky. And he's still got his phone on as he's screaming. And then all of a sudden it just goes, and they're back flying again. And I mean, the whole plane's just going, what the fuck just happened? Like probably the deep smell of poop, I'm guessing.
Yeah, seriously.
Can you imagine going through that? That's one of those ones like the movies where they go, I love you, man. No, I really love you. Like I've always had a thing for you. And then the plane fixes itself and he's like, no, I was just kidding, man. I was just kidding. Trying to make you feel better.
Wife, I only cheated on you 10 times. I promise. Yeah. Oh, never mind.
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry I slept with your sister. Yeah.
Oh, those things we say when our life passes before us in 10
Yeah.
seconds.
I remember Montero had one too, Eric. You probably remember it when he was going to Mexico City, I think. And it was like Mexicana. And the plane had to go out over the ocean and start dumping fuel because he was going to crash land. I mean, and the pilot comes on and goes, yeah, we think we're going to have to crash land. We got to dump fuel. Well, that's a happy feeling.
Landing gear got stuck or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the week. That was the week that you called me and said, "Hey, you got to come to Mexico." After I had heard that story, and I'm like,
"Who called you?"
You did.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, we were doing a thing down in Mexico with them.
Yeah,
like,
with that music something.
Yeah,
music.
and you know, Chris, it's all fine. There's no problem. Get on a plane.
Well, you're still here. What are you talking about, man? Quit whining.
Live to tell. Live to tell the story.
Quit whining. Happy Sons Day, you bunch of sons of bitches. Not that your moms are bitches. I wasn't saying that.
If you were
I never
dogs,
get,
they would be.
Yeah. I never get into those things. Well, first of all, my son isn't on Facebook, so it wouldn't have been worthwhile. I would have just impressed all you guys that I remembered it. But yeah.
Well, there you go. Are you guys is everybody still using Facebook heavily?
I am.
Not heavily, but I use it.
I'm more a voyeur these days.
Here's an interesting, I just got out of a marketing meeting today, and 70% of our website traffic is coming from Facebook right now.
Wow.
Really?
I'll tell you one thing. If you're trying to track down an LD you don't know directly, you can find them on Facebook and get into a conversation much easier than you can.
LinkedIn seems a little better for that. But that's interesting, Eric. I'm surprised because maybe, 6, 7
Marcel,
years ago.
you should look at your Google Analytics. I bet you.
Oh, I do
you'll
every
find the
day.
same thing.
Yeah, I do every day. It's bizarre. I mean, I'm just going to start, paying for Elation lighting in my Google AdWords and see if that gets me more traffic.
Well, this is an interesting thing that I just
I'm joking.
The speaking of the Google Analytics, so I had a bit of a tete-a-tete with Google 2 months ago because the analytics were showing that we're getting all of this traffic to the online store. There were literally zero sales from any of that traffic. So we had sales going on, but none of it was coming from the Google
conversion. That's called conversion. Yeah. Conversion is a whole different trick unto itself,
Then all of a sudden, for the last month, it died. Everything died. Couldn't figure it out. Yesterday, I get an email from Google. Oh, because we changed corporate credit cards, so the payment needed to be updated. So they hit, and I was like, oh, okay, let me go in there, and it wasn't going through for some reason. I go, let me go check the site. Nothing. The site's not up.
What,
because of the
site,
fight
Google
I had
or
with
your
Google
site?
about the analytics, Google reset the domain settings.
Oh, so it just wasn't even seeing you.
And disconnected the entire site. It had to have been for 4 weeks.
Welcome to being canceled, Patrick.
Holy
Awesome.
crap.
Awesome.
Wow.
You just got canceled, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you almost have to pay someone just to stay on top of those freaking all the different algorithms and stuff, because 1 week something works, the next week something else works, and that one doesn't work. It's actually causing you trouble. Honestly, like I would say almost 100% of my traffic right now is completely organic. Our organic traffic since the beginning of the year is about 20% increase week over week, every single week. It's crazy. I mean, I've never seen things like that. And I guess it's just because, people admit to me all the time that they go to GearSource, look up prices, and then go sell that item locally to someone at the price that it says on GearSource. So they're using us as a reference. It's okay. I don't care, but we're still getting that traffic, obviously, but not the sale.
And by organic, you meaning networking and
no ads, zero advertising.
Yeah.
Zero ads, nothing. We're we did a massive platform change, and we decided until our platform was completely 100% stable, we weren't going to spend, plus COVID, we weren't going to spend money on Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, YouTube ads, even Google AdWords. And yeah, 0 ads, completely organic.
Good.
Yeah.
Well,
Weird.
before COVID, our advertising, was really driven by Mai Tais and coffee for some time and did very, very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
No shit. Mr. Warren, how are you?
I'm good, man. Absolutely good. Sorry to be eating in front of you, but yeah, just come back from yoga class. How you doing, Marsha? How you doing, everybody?
What are you eating, Steve?
Jamaican fish, actually. Jamaican
There you
fried
go.
fish. Yeah, man. You must have that at home sometimes, fried fish.
I've had it. I've had it, definitely.
Yeah, I was just checking in from the van, actually. We're about to go to Portugal for 8 weeks. So
Kick ass.
8 weeks.
I know, because the Americans take really short holidays. We never understand in Europe how you take.
No, the Europeans take really long ones.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You've got to change your point of reference.
Yeah. Well, here's the point of reference. China is stealing your shit while you're on vacation.
China's always stealing our shit. I'm so sick of fucking China. I'm sorry, but I'm so upset with China. I mean, as I pick up another 2 boxes of COVID tests made in China, and you're trying to stay calm. I don't know about anyone else. I mean, Eric,
did you guys see
what's
that?
Happening with the...
Steve, one sec. Eric, did you see that India Harman thing? There was an article about Harman going after counterfeiters in India of JBL products and stuff. JBL, AKG, and they're arresting people. Like, they're actually throwing people in jail in India right now.
Excellent.
So, sorry, Steve, what were you asking?
No, I was going to ask Eric about this whole parts saga. I mean, it's one of the reasons. Well, no, I'm not going because, trying to sort of hide from work. We've still got internet connection. It's Europe. We're going to Portugal. So it'd be nice to see our distributors, see some customers while we're traveling. But the parts, this whole sort of supply chain fiasco is just getting from bad to worse. It's quite incredible. I mean, apart from the shortage of people, but Eric, I mean, do you have the same thing, or because you're taking stuff out of China? China seems probably the only place that's, maybe China has all the parts.
Hi, it's David.
That's what's going on.
It's Jeffrey. Yeah, I mean, we've seen isolated issues. I wouldn't say we've seen major things, but I've been hearing stories from us or from different manufacturers pretty much every day now. People are having those challenges of finding key components, basically, processors and ICs, and the lead times are pretty crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about 6 or 7 months quite often, and you're like 6 or 7 months in our industry is
something as small as IC chips. Though, why wouldn't you just fly those and be done with it?
It's not that it's supply.
Well, here's the other thing. China. I don't know if you guys read this article a couple of days ago, but China said the car manufacturers need to quit whining and basically move up a decade in technology. They're using archaic technology, and that's why there's shortages. Because they're insinuating that car manufacturers are the only ones using this older board or chip technology, which may or may not be the truth. I don't know.
Says the people using an abacus.
Yeah, true. That's very true. Huh? Yeah.
And as you say, I mean, the processors and the graphics cards, especially graphics cards, been going on for a while, but those are the sort of headline things. I mean, we're talking about things like encoders and ASIC chips and just, regular sort of, almost run-of-the-mill semiconductors. Semiconductors, faders, encoders, all been quoted sort of 6 or 7 months. So that's the pain we're having at the moment because the orders are incredible. The orders have been fantastic, absolutely beyond expectations. So I suppose you can't have it all, and I'm sure it'll get solved. But it's from one challenge to another, isn't it?
Yes.
Seems so. Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, good time to take off. That's what I thought.
Indeed.
Well, we've got about 62 containers on the water right now, and we don't know when they're gonna get here. I don't know. They might get here next month after.
They showed on the news this morning this entire clusterfuck of like 60 or 70 ships.
Yeah, 70 ships
off of the West Coast port, and then another boatload of pack load of them, maybe 60 or so off the East Coast ports as well. They're just like
So
backlogged
I don't
waiting
get
to
that. I mean, you've got
offload.
product, it's sitting on a ship. What, they just can't unload them fast enough, or people?
All of the ships, they
Trying
would
to
come
make
in
more
at
money?
50-60% capacity before. Now they're at 70-80% capacity as far as quantity of containers. So maybe 5,000 containers on a ship, right?
Right.
So, and in the US, I mean, Herrick actually just posted something on my comment on my post today. You know, it takes us double the time to unload a container here as it does at any other port in the world. You know, so this whole infrastructure thing, there's something to it, because, you know, our ports are behind in technology from all the rest of the ports around the world.
Yeah, and they just opened the ports for longer hours. Just
right, and we're the only ports in the world that don't operate 24/7.
Correct. Yeah, because of the union holding them up, is what they said, and also the neighbors because of the truck noise coming down the freeway.
And all the truckers that go to pick up our containers, they're waiting 8-12 hours just to pick up one container.
Yeah.
What a mess.
It's a disaster. And they're talking about bringing in the federal government to help manage this now, because it's really, because food's sitting out there. Food is
straighten everything.
Food is sitting out there on the ports, you know, spoiling in containers. People that are ordering food from Asia, it's spoiling in the containers before it can even get here.
You're muted, Marcel. Probably a good thing, but you're muted.
Yeah, I muted him.
I'm saying bring in Amazon to manage the process and manage this whole.
Fuck Amazon.
No, I'm serious. Who's better at logistics?
Well,
Charlie
logistics, not the freaking government.
Keep the federal government out of it.
Bring in Chick-fil-A.
I'm with you, Marcel.
Chick-fil-A. Yeah. They can clean out a driveway in no time.
We're going to bring in the National Guard. National Guard's going to solve it.
Let me show you something funny.
You have to support us on this. Amazon is an evil company, man. We haven't shopped.
Of course they are.
We haven't bought anything from Amazon for like half a year, have we?
That's amazing. But I mean, if you've got trouble with logistics, don't you want the best logistics company in the world, which happens to be Amazon? I mean, that's the only reason.
Yeah.
Or you could let the government do it. Good luck on that one. Here, I want to show you something funny. This is my son's race team. They're up in Tennessee driving right now. And I was bitching about the resolution of the videos he sent me. You know, typical answer, send more money. We need more money. We'll give you better resolution.
Marcel, while we're talking about supply chain stuff, can I just throw this in one sec? I really want to share this with you because we have a hilarious situation here in the UK at the moment. I've just driven home. It's 10:30 at night. We've just come from yoga, so sorry I'm going to eat in front of you. But I've just driven past like a line that goes on for like 200-300 yards from the gas station, from the petrol station. And it's late at night and people are queuing because it's the only petrol station in the area that actually has petrol.
What the hell?
I know. So what happened is like 3 days ago, 100 petrol stations, apparently out of 8,000, but that's not what was reported by the news. The news said, there's a petrol shortage because what we have here is a shortage of truckers. We have a shortage of truck drivers because of Brexit. Bloody idiots. Yeah, bloody idiots voted for Brexit. All of the European truckers decide to go home. So we have shortages on the shelves in the supermarket. And so everyone's
we had the same problem when all these riots
with toilet paper.
Fuel.
When we had shortage is bad.
No, but hang on a sec. When we had the fuel shortage, it wasn't that we didn't have fuel. We just didn't have trucks to transport the fuel from where it was to where it was needed.
And Marcel, that is part of the problem. But what the funny thing is here for me is that when we then look back at the story turns out that there were 100 petrol stations out of 8,000 petrol stations that didn't have petrol. But once the news said, there's 100 petrol stations that don't have petrol, then everybody went out and filled up, and suddenly every gas station, every petrol station,
that explains every problem we've got right now, though, Steve.
100%.
Is the media says, go look over there, and you're looking away from what's really happening, and you're going to where they want you to look. And yeah, I mean, that's same thing. But that's my Amazon argument again, because I haven't missed any Amazon shipments. They all come in 2 days. Everything, sometimes 1 day. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
So I mean, if you want somebody managing your logistics right now, as much as I hate that company,
Jeff Bezos.
Well,
Yeah.
it won't be long till he's in charge of the world. So I think you might have, you know,
Yeah.
that might very well turn out like that. So.
Well, I'm going to get together with a few of my friends and go buy like a little island off Jamaica or something, Steve. Let's go do that.
I'm
And
with
just
you.
deal with
Nice.
nobody. Grow
I'm on the
ganja.
now.
Grow ganja. I'm going to have to learn to smoke it again because I haven't done that in 100 years.
Nick
And,
Freed tried this shit
Like a
already.
bicycle, Marcel. Once you do it, you'll never forget. Just a little practice.
Nick Freed cut some funny corners though. See, Eric?
I guess.
Nick
See,
Freed
Eric.
cut some funny corners, like, you know, mosquito spray, for example,
Oof.
air conditioning, you know. Yeah, so.
Those mosquitoes down there were no joke. That was the worst I had ever encountered.
Yeah, nasty.
I do believe
Nasty.
there are air conditioners in Jamaica, though. You just might have to hunt for them a bit.
No, just not at Nick Freed's house in Belize that he used to have.
Oh, okay. Never
This was
mind.
this was 52 miles off the coast of Belize City. It was
Yeah.
Ah.
middle of nowhere, and there were mosquitoes like.
Yeah, but he
the
paid like
size of A10s.
he paid like 25 grand for that house or something. Like he paid nothing for it.
It was
So-
awesome.
Yeah, no, killer.
I understand you can live quite nicely in Costa Rica as well.
I think it's getting harder now because of all the Americans that are going there and buying up land and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, leave
Yeah,
it
the
to
early
Americans
2000s
to
were the best
screw
time
it
for
up
us.
for everyone.
What's that, Patrick?
I said
The early 2000s were the time to buy
Yeah.
land in Costa Rica. Spike
Yeah.
Brandt and I were talking about that way back in the day.
Yeah. Griff Palmer bought a lot there. I think he's building now. I don't know if you guys know Matt Klauser, owns a company called Active Lighting in Atlanta. He has a place in Costa Rica. Yeah, I know a few people who bought him in the early 2000s and did pretty well on him, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
New York music guy by the name of Bruce Forrest relocated to Costa Rica a number of years ago. So, you know.
hey, I'm
Panama's
a
another-
mega crypto guy now. I bought $500 in Bitcoin on Cash App the other day. So I'm right there, man. I'm leading the world.
Oh my God.
500
I so don't
bucks,
understand
500 big ones.
Bought
I
the
don't understand
dip.
it at all. But it's
It
like
dipped.
nothing.
Yeah,
it
right
doesn't
after I
exist.
bought it, it dipped.
So does that mean what's
Fabulous.
your 500 worth now? 400?
It's always been that way. I remember when Nick Freed used to, his name again, when he used to call me up and go, dude, it's a sure thing. You got to buy this penny stock, buy as much as you can. And, you know, I'd buy 10 grand or 20 grand in this penny stock. And, you know, 2 days later, it goes from 3 cents to like 0.002 cents or whatever. And I'm like, dude, what just happened? No, don't worry.
Yep.
Wait it out.
Get it out.
It
Yeah,
never
and then
seemed
you
to
wait
work out
long
for me.
enough and they just take your stock away because it's not doing anything. That happened to me
Yeah.
years ago. I was like, what the fuck happened? I had 100 shares of this. When did it go to
Yeah.
nothing?
Yeah, those billboard stocks are frightening. You gotta have a
Ah,
pretty
you know,
strong
some
stomach
things
for that
you
stuff.
do once. You do them just once, and
Yeah.
then you never do them again. And that's one of them.
Yeah, I have a friend who's fighting like crazy to stay out of jail right now because he ran a company that owned a bunch of companies with those penny stocks. And, you know, they just didn't like the way his staff were trading or whatever promises they were making, et cetera. And FBI came after him. And so he's fighting like hell to stay out of jail right now. And he's a really good guy, you know, other than that. But there are no shortcuts, folks.
Nope.
So
there
Marcel,
aren't.
what prompted you to buy into Bitcoin at the time? I mean, I think it's the right decision, but so does El Salvador, obviously. So-
Yeah, but here's the thing. It was $500, Steve, and it was just out of curiosity because I totally don't understand any of the cryptocurrency and all that stuff. I just know that a lot of really smart people keep saying buy it. So I just bought a tiny little bit so I can check on it every couple weeks and just try and figure out what's going on. And whether or not I ever go deeper in, I don't know. But
Get your dopamine disappointment fix every 4 weeks looking at it.
Well, I don't know, Patrick. I mean, what I would say is, for me, I've been doing it for like, I don't know, a couple of years now. And every single time I've bought, I've thought, shit, why am I buying so high? It's ridiculous. It's $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. Last time I bought was $32,000. And every time I bought, I thought, shit, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Why are you buying these?
yeah.
Every time I've looked back and thought, you absolute moron. Why do you buy-"
Well, Steve, I just bought some, so you might want to start selling. I'm just saying, like, if I buy a stock, you want to short it. you know.
I think
No,
I
it
just
is-
started a new currency called BitBob, and you guys are welcome to invest.
Yeah.
Pineapple-based currency, be careful.
There you
Yeah.
go.
He invests in defunct rental companies.
I bet
No,
we're
I mean, once again, it goes back to your risk tolerance, you know, just as anything. And whether it's cryptocurrency or stock, you have to have the risk tolerance, and the patience too is the most important thing. And Steve, I'm sure you can attest that crypto, you know, everybody gets hyped on, you know, oh, buy the dip, it's going to go up, I'm going to be a bajillionaire in 4 days. But when you look at how the progressive growth of that stuff over the last 6 years, you know, it's worth holding on to long term, and you have to resign yourself to saying, I'm just not going to look at this for a long time.
Yeah, don't check the price every day.
Yeah, it'll drive you nuts.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree.
You know, if you had
Hi,
invested,
Diana.
if you had invested $1,000 in Bitcoin back in 2011, it would have been worth upwards of $4 million now.
What?
Yeah.
So what are you doing with all that cash then, Patrick?
Don't worry about it.
And don't worry about it.
He's putting it all on red.
I
That
tried.
sounds
My
ingenious.
wife.
That
Damn.
sounds ingenious.
Hey,
Yeah.
I got 3 o'clock. I will see all you folks next week.
Bye, Mark.
Adios.
Take
See
care,
you,
Mark.
Mark. Have a good week.
You, everybody too.
I just wanted to pop in and say hi. I've been swamped, so I haven't
Good.
forgotten you, and I miss you all.
Hey,
We've missed
Diane.
Yay. Yay.
Glad to see
Yeah,
you busy.
sometimes there's actually people here still, and sometimes, like last week, there's, you know, 6 of us arguing over football or something. So just depends if people are working, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and I gotta walk from one gig to another. I think it's in a week or two, maybe 3 weeks. So I figure I'll just try and catch you on the way from Radio City to Bryant Park. I thought that'd be nice.
Ooh, name dropper.
I usually don't, but I thought that's my favorite walk when I go from one to the other. So
Good for you.
Very
Nice,
cool.
nice to hear you're back at work.
thank you. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Things are good. So Diana, there's lots of work out there? I mean, here in the UK, there's certainly a lot of shows on. People are busy. Everyone's looking for technicians, which is really great after the year and a half we've had. Although I just spoke to a friend who's was supposed to be flying out to Portugal for a big show on Friday. And he says, no, they've just brought in a new ruling saying they're not allowing anything over 10,000 people. So that's his festival has been kicked into touch. So it's still like sort of, you know, happening, and then it pulls back in different countries, and then it's happening again. But here in the UK, I mean, there's work, which is great. You know, all the freelancers I know are busy, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
That's
we're
good.
short of people, short of resources, short of everything, just like we predicted.
Right.
Yeah. The only thing I'm seeing that's not opening up at all is Asia. And you know, it's still terrible over there. Like, you know, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, just no shows
Indonesia
still.
really is having a phenomenally difficult time.
Yeah.
You know, Bali in particular. We've got a bunch of friends over there, and they're just biding their time. It really sucks because they're completely reliant on tourism.
Yeah. No, it's brutal. And so, you know, we see a lot of gear moving from Asia into Europe, into the US. You know, that's been very busy. I mean, freight becomes a problem because still, no matter what, you have to get it to whoever the buyer is. So, but we're seeing people flying stuff because flying becomes cheaper and more convenient, obviously, than boat, especially, you know, like an MA2 console, for example. We're seeing a lot of people fly those instead of putting them on a ship because A, you can get the flight, and B, it gets there. Even if it's late, it's still only a week as opposed to, you know, 20 weeks or something. So, but yeah, we're seeing, you know, we actually bought a liquidation of a Malaysian sound company, not a very big company, but, you know, big D&B system, bunch of Roby stuff. And, they were just like, they tried for a while to sell it, but they couldn't handle the logistics of selling onesie twosies. And then finally they just came and said, hey, can you just buy it from us? And we looked at it, including the freight, and the price was such that we felt like we could make a little profit and sell it here in the US. So it's sad though. I mean, I don't want to take advantage of anybody, that's for sure. Even though some people do, I guess.
Well, no, it's a tough, you have to look at that and go, all right, am I taking advantage of it, or am I actually alleviating somebody at this point? Because
right.
if their particular situation is unsustainable, I would rather have someone bail me out at that lower price just to get me out of it at that point, so I get a chance to rebuild.
No, I mean, if you have $1 million or $2 million in inventory and you haven't done a show for a year and a half, that begins to look pretty appealing at that point,
Very much so.
Feeding your family, figuring out what to do next, So yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, it's just about being smart about what the short versus long-term decisions are.
Yeah.
We just went through it with real estate for the previous studios. We've sold the previous studios because the real estate on it was worth vastly more than it's going to generate in the next 2 months. So we ran the numbers and went, well, that's a no-brainer. You grab it now and then fine. Nobody's beating down the door for previs right now. Perfect. We'll rebuild that even cooler later on.
Get it back later.
And make a profit on it. Do it.
No, that makes tons of sense.
You get your
smart
ego
move.
out of the way. It works.
Smart move. My son leaves Monday for England, and I think I told you guys before, but a couple weeks ago I realized his passport expires while he's in England, and because he got his passport before he was 16, it's a brand new passport now, because a child passport you can't whatever you call it, renew it. So it was a new passport. So, you try and call the passport office, forget it. Here in Miami, you can't even get an appointment at the passport office, forget it. So I was either going to go to Atlanta to try and get into the passport office. But then I called an agency called Visa Express. I've used them before. And they said, no problem. You just have to wait till exactly 2 weeks before he leaves. And this is like 4 weeks before he leaves. And I'm like, well, that feels really uncomfortable and sketchy, that you're telling me to wait 2 more weeks and then apply because I can't get it now 4 weeks ahead of time. And he goes, those are the rules. Like, the passport office won't treat it as an emergency unless you're within 2 weeks of your departure. And so I waited. Monday of last week was exactly 2 weeks. You got to go to the post office to fill out an application. And then you got to put a bunch of stuff into a FedEx envelope, send it overnight to the Visa Express office. Long story short, we got the passport today, and it only cost me $500, I think. So it's a scary thing, though, this international travel these days. Yeah, you got a new passport today.
That's great, because I've been
going
hearing
with him?
absolute horror stories out of the state.
4 months, 4 or 5 months. Yeah. 4 or 5 months.
I have a friend in New York who's going through some real horrible stuff. Same thing. Can't get a passport. Wallet was stolen. Doesn't have ID. It's just a nightmare, and can't get to an office to have anybody respond to even make an appointment to go in with your documents and get anything done. It's like being in a hamster wheel. You can't.
Well, I mean, if you want, I can give you a phone number for this place, and and
text it to me.
Just give it to your friend, and they can contact them. I mean, it's fairly guaranteed. It's just, you got to get all the documents right. You got to do everything properly. If you do, you get it, because his team, they had to do the same thing, and everybody got their passports. So
please text it to me. I'd appreciate that, Marcel.
Will do.
Would be very grateful.
And you're gone when, Steve? When do you leave?
Wow. We sail from Portsmouth in the UK to Santander in Spain tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Jesus, you brag a lot.
Yeah. So the place is chaotic. We're in a flat, so we're trying to get everything into our little RV, and my partner's in the background packing up stuff.
So you say you sail, but you're putting everything in the RV. So what, are you going on a ferry or something?
Yeah, that's right. I just thought it was easier rather than drive all the way through France and Spain, just to take 2 days
cool.
sailing out. And then really spent quite a bit of time in Portugal. A lot of people in the UK, and part of this is because of Brexit, I think. A lot of people are, like myself, are just disgusted with the rest of the UK. You know, excuse me my language, but how the fuck did we get here? This Brexit thing is bad. You know, it's just disrespectful to the other countries. You know,
well,
the date of
pop over here for a couple days. You know, it ain't any better, son.
I spin on it, and I think the English think they're going to get the empire back. They think they're getting India back. You know,
maybe we already have.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, are you going to be in the Algarve at all?
Yes, yeah, we're starting right at the north, and then sort of nipping down to like maybe 10 or 12 different towns and cities. So.
If you get a chance, stick your nose into Selma, SELMA. I think it's just a beautiful little spot of nothingness, and it's just heaven. It's truly one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
I think
what is it?
Almost at the tip.
I'm going to.
Is it like a town?
Remind you in a text about that.
Yeah.
Maybe text it over
Yeah.
to me,
Please do. Please do.
for some reason, I think Portugal seems very similar to Costa Rica, as you say, in terms of there are a lot of sort of, I don't know, free-thinking people, just sort of nice, vibey people heading that way. And sometimes maybe that happens in a country that a lot of people. And so a lot of people we're talking to are I don't know, getting property there or setting up there. And so I just want to go and see what it's all about. So.
I think the Portuguese are really lovely people as well. It's just lovely, lovely people.
I'll be signing in and telling you how we're doing.
Awesome. That'll be great.
Excellent.
Send pictures of Nazare.
Yes, where all the surfers hang out.
Yeah.
That's a cool.
Have you seen the 100-Foot Wave documentary on HBO?
No. What's that?
It's a series that basically tracks the whole really discovery of Nazare and that break where they're surfing the massive 100-foot waves. And they talk about basically how it was founded and attempted for years and then finally built up slowly into getting international surfing teams to come over and then building it into a spot that was able to have world championships for big wave riding, and how the local government, Nazare, helped formulate all of this as a form of tourism and got behind the whole movement of it. It's a very cool documentary. It's like, I don't know, 10 episodes or something on HBO. It's great.
I'd like to check that out because Nazare, exactly, you know, the people who are sort of migrating towards there and sort of like, it's like a magnet for a lot of interesting people.
And it looks absolutely gorgeous. I haven't been there yet.
Well,
speak like that.
So I'm hoping I'll be able to
have fun.
call
Hit them well.
Yeah. Although Marcel, I have to say your backdrop is still 100%. I mean, Jesus, look at that.
I'm only out here because I feel really, I don't know what happened, but a couple hours ago, all of a sudden I started getting like flu or COVID symptoms and like shivering and getting a temperature and all this stuff. But I mean, I've had it twice and I've got the vaccine. I'm pretty confident. Plus I haven't been around people in a few days. Pretty confident I don't have COVID, but I don't know. It's just weird. So I was freezing to death in the house. So I went outside and I'm sitting here in 85 degrees and I'm not even hot.
Well,
weird.
He's a walking breakthrough case.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first cold in like maybe a year and a half, 2 years. I can't remember what it's like having a cold. And I have a really serious cold and sore throat. I was really quite poorly last night, this morning. And I think that's happening a lot because people have been away from each other. And we've, you know, so one of the benefits is none of us have got sick for a long time. So I tested myself twice today, just because obviously every time you sneeze, everyone stands back from you. You know?
That's very true.
And you want to say, look,
very
I'm
true.
Twice.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lynn.
Hi guys. Hold on. I
Hi,
gotta put my
Lynn.
picture back on. How are you?
Just be careful. You're driving.
So, as you know, I work at, I was driving on I-4. Sorry. I work at Amway Center. And we've had a lot of concerts, but last Saturday night was J. Cole, and he's very, very popular. However, his trucks with his equipment were supposed to be there at 8 in the morning per usual, and they got there at 11:30, almost noon, and started setting up, and they were so late. There was problems. There was all kinds of agita. He went on about 11:30, somewhere like that, and people were leaving the arena at 2:30 in the morning. So, and so
Wow.
my team was even later because, we have to finish up and make sure everybody's gone and everything's safe.
That was a
and
long day.
good. Yeah, we've had that a couple of times before with Guns N' Roses.
I was going to say Guns N' Roses, perhaps.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, they didn't even get into town at the airport until 11 o'clock at night. But
That's
anyway,
crazy.
That's Axel though. Jake Call is Jake Call is just the Rock Nation dartboard of routing that came out because they broke that out of COVID. That was the first thing back. Slapped it up on Rapinoe's wall and said, "Let's go for it."
Yeah. Yep,
well,
that's true.
I guess there were, as usual, when people are sitting there waiting for an act, and where I work, they are served food and beverage in the loge boxes. They start to get cranky. They get drunk and they get crazy and they start fighting.
Well, they're probably running out of money. Beers at $17 each or whatever. It's easy to run out of cash soon. So I'd get pissed off too. I bet they're pretty damn close. I know at the Dolphins game a couple weeks ago, I got a bottle of water and a Mick Ultra. And it wasn't one of those the monster beers that they serve you at arenas and stuff nowadays. It was a regular size Mick Ultra and a bottle of water, and it was $18.
Oh my God.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And then they put a field on the thing because it's all electronic pay. They put a field there for tip. And I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Yeah.
Well, you can't beat up the servers or whatever.Ey're trying
beat them up. All they did was grab 2 cans of one of beer and one of water. So no, I'm not beating up the servers, but
Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus, please help this man. He's gone from Corona Premier to Mick Ultra.
Only because they didn't have it, son. Only because they didn't have it.
Coming up, we're going to have, I've learned bagel on Friday. I guess that'll be fine. But we have Harry Styles next week, and that's going to be crazy.
Harry Styles. Nice.
Yeah,
everybody and their mother has asked me for tickets already, and I'm like,
no such thing.
Where I work, they're all sold out. I mean, it's just 17 plus right now.
Yeah.
So
hey folks, I gotta jump.
Vaccinated.
I need to jump.
I gotta go too, but at least I got to hear some of you guys.
Hey, LDI. So I'm booked. Marsha's booked. Who else is booked? Is everybody booked? There's only 6 of us left here. Okay, so there's going to be 5 of us, anyways. Yeah.
I'd like to go.
Yeah. I go in on Thursday and leave on Sunday afternoon to go up to Canada. So that's my trip. All right, guys. See you later.
Patrick, I'll be in touch. Bye-bye. See you guys next week.
Bye.